What's going on, guys? Andrew Piluk Hockey here, back with another video. Today we're looking at some NHL trade rumors from Specters Hockey for October 9th, 2019. So we're not going to waste any more time. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. And yeah, if you want to read this article, it's in the description. But I'm going to be giving my thoughts and opinions on what's been going on with some trade rumors from Specters Hockey. So the first one's coming from TSN, and of course we know Specters Hockey pulls in from everywhere. So this one is this first one's from TSN's Bob McKenzie. Reports that injuries obviously will sideline a couple players from the Pittsburgh Penguins. Of course, Evgeny Malkin and Nick Bjugstad, who they were hoping. We know Malkin can put up points, but Bjugstad, they were hoping that he would help this team as well with some of the absences and moves that they've made this offseason. So these injuries will probably be for like 4 weeks. There's basically, McKenzie said there's no way you're going to replace Evgeny Malkin, which is quite obvious. Malkin is a consistent guy that will put up a bunch of points for you every single year, give you that extra boost that you need when you need scoring, and him being out will suck. And basically, McKenzie was talking about, will they make a move? Will the Pittsburgh Penguins be making a move? Because you are missing out on some talent, and the Pittsburgh Penguins believe that their window is still open. Now, a lot of people now are looking at this situation and going, well, there's some bad contracts on this team that you probably could have found a way to move out. There's a lot of teams this year and even in the past couple of years that have moved on from some pretty bad contracts. They've had to give up assets, but it kept their window open, and that allowed them to make better moves, to sign better players, or to hold on to better players. Like, people are saying, well, look at now, like, how bad do the Pittsburgh Penguins need, like, Phil Kessel as some more added depth? Like, the Pittsburgh Penguins could probably use his scoring at this point. But another thing is like, there isn't a ton of names out there for the short term that could fix a problem for the Pittsburgh Penguins, because they need quite a bit of points here, but they're not going to get that from anybody who's available right now. So there's some other names that are being involved in Pittsburgh trade talks, and we've talked about these before, and I just mentioned bad contracts that are on the team. Jack Johnson was mentioned in some trade speculation. We know his story. Good for him for getting his money, but at the same time, it's like, this was an odd deal for Pittsburgh, even though he was a friend of Crosby. McKenzie also suggested throwing Eric Goodbranson into the mix. Goodbranson and Johnson have been partners. I almost said tag team partners, like they were wrestlers, but they've been defensive pairing, and both of them aren't exactly all that great. Although Penguins fans seem to think Goodbranson's a little bit better, which I would agree he definitely is. It would have to be a dollar in, dollar out move. Again, this is another team that would have to make a move that would send dollars out before they can really bring anybody in, because their cap space isn't really there. So, and the reason I'm also saying that is because when Malkin and Bjugstad return, then that money has to go back, which is what McKenzie said. But that's obvious. You can't just make a move and be like, we'll deal with this later. Like the cap, especially if you're getting somebody who's good, that cap hit will be a problem. So we'll have to see what happens there. So Rob Rossi from The Athletic is reporting that the Penguins GM Jim Rutherford said it's too early to pursue a trade for a center. Rutherford tried to peddle Johnson at the end of training camp. Rossi speculates he could call up a couple forwards from their AHL affiliate. So because of the fact that the Penguins don't exactly have the cap space that they want, and they're not seeing a lot of teams willing to take on these guys if they want to make a bigger move, it's a huge problem for them. And they're going to call up some guys from the AHL. That's all fine and dandy, but that's just a temporary fix until Malkin and Bjugstad come back. But if they continue to not play to the level that they need to be playing at, then this opens up a huge problem that maybe some of these contracts and even the Kessel move wasn't exactly a great move. So this is an interesting segue into the next point here, that there's interest from a lot of teams in Brian Boyle. Now, we know the story about Brian Boyle, an incredible story, and he's actually a guy that can produce. A lot of people are saying, well, like he's just a depth guy, whatever, but he actually can play a solid game, and he can put in some goals for you. So Bob McKenzie reports there's significant interest in Brian Boyle. The free agent center is talking with several teams. McKenzie claims one of those clubs must either clear some salary cap space or a roster spot to sign Boyle, which is clear as day. And the Specters note in here was something that I thought about right away when I seen this. What if the Penguins are a team that's available? You have to wonder how much Brian Boyle is looking for. Will it be in like the $2.5 million range? Because it will probably be a 1-year deal. So I'm wondering if it will be in the $1 to $2.5 million range. That's a little bit of a gap, of course, with $1 million separating the two numbers. But you would have to think it would be around that number. Brian Boyle isn't just, you know, some random player. Like, he actually can produce for you in your bottom two lines if you really need him to. We've seen him be a positive influence on a team, so I think that there'll be a lot of teams that could take interest from that. Some final notes here, just some quick stuff. Elliot Friedman reported that Roman Jossi's contract negotiations with the Preds might have hit a bit of a snag. There was momentum in those talks during the summer, but that's stopped now. So this will probably continue as the season goes on. The Preds and Roman Josi both, obviously both want to stick together. They both like each other. Obviously, the Josi has said multiple times that he likes staying and playing with the Preds, and of course the Predators. Why would you want to get rid of Roman Josi, a leader for this team, a guy that can put up points and play a good overall game? So there's a lot of reports that Josi's asking price could be north of $9 million, and if you're seeing some of the deals that are being signed right now, if this is a long-term deal, I don't think that that's overly out of this world. I think that it kind of makes sense. Josi and Predators GM David Boyle have downplayed the situation, and the Spectre's note here says, I expect he'll be re-signed, but it won't be for a hometown discount. So he's going to get his money, and I would agree. So there's another quick thing here. The St. Louis Blues could use Oliver Ekman-Larsson's contract as a baseline in negotiations for Alex Pietrangelo. Ekman-Larsson is in the first season of an 8-year, $66 million deal with the Arizona Coyotes. Cap Friendly indicates that Ekman-Larsson's average annual value, his AAV, is $8.25 million. The Pietrangelo camp could seek over $9 million per season. So if this is long-term, it's going to hurt down the road because Pietrangelo will, obviously, he's getting older. But for the first couple of years of that contract, it should be okay. But with the cap space or the money that the Blues have been spending lately, they're kind of making sure that they'll have the cap space to be able to do something like that. They just signed the Justin Falk deal almost as like a backup just in case, and he's obviously good. They obviously just re-signed Braden Shen as well, and they have other deals to work on. But considering that he's a great all-around defenseman, the first couple years of that deal will be good, but after that, it could be a problem. Last thing quick here, the Florida Panthers will try to move Mark Pysyk. We've been talking about this before. The veteran defenseman is slated to become a UFA this summer. Friedman noted the New Jersey Devils and Vancouver Canucks had an interest during the summer. His AAV, $2.73 million, could be difficult for clubs with limited cap space to absorb. So we'll have to see where that situation goes. Pysyk is not a bad defenseman. He's a guy that can put up some points for you, but he's not a guy where teams are scratching and clawing to go after him. So if the price is low enough and they have the cap space, he'll more than likely be moved. And it'll probably just be a minor deal. I don't think it would be anything huge. So we'll have to see what happens to all of these rumors. If you're new to this channel, make sure to subscribe. I'd love to have more hockey conversations with you. Join the squad. Let's get to 7,000 subscribers. I appreciate you guys' support as always, and I'll see you in the next video or stream. Peace.